not rock out on a Friday when I know I'm doing a live. Woo! Hey, everybody. All right, let's bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. So, hey, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. I'm Emily Sinclair. I'm Reality Girl, agent here at Acme Real Estate. And I'm doing an IG takeover today, IG Live. So, hello. And so, title insurance, I realize this is not the sexiest topic when it comes to the home buying or home selling process, but it is vital, very, very important to talk about. And so I wanted to come on today, and I'm going to invite one of our favorite title reps, Philip Waterman from Chicago Title, to join us, and we are going to talk about title insurance. WTF is it, and why do I need it? Okay, so while we are waiting for more people to join, hi everybody. I'm going to tell a little story of how I like to explain what title insurance is whenever I'm having a meeting with buyers or sellers. So essentially, imagine two guys are getting drunk in a bar. Oops, let me turn this off here. Two guys are getting drunk in a bar. Let's say it's 1850, okay, old California, gold rush era. And we've got Ricky Bobby and we've got Joe Schmo, and they're making a bet together. And Ricky Bobby loses the bet, okay? So Joe Schmo says, well, I actually don't have the money to pay back this debt, but I do owe me some land. So I'm gonna go ahead and write down on this napkin right here, Joe Schmo is the new owner of XYZ parcel of land at the corner of Banana Lane and Apple Place, okay? So here's your napkin, there you go. So Joe Schmo takes his napkin down to the city and he tries to claim his land. Well, the city tells him right then and there, no, sorry, that land is not owned by Ricky Bobby, that's owned by, XYZ. And so suddenly we have a real problem here. Someone was trying to convey land, trying to give away land or sell land that wasn't wasn't rightfully theirs. So the entire purpose of title is to make sure, and Philip's going to talk about this too, is to make sure that if you are buying that property, you know that you are buying it free and clear of any issues, and your name is going to be on that title and no one else is going to come back and say that's actually mine. Okay, so that's sort of the general. I'm going to be adding in Philip Waterman now, if I can find him. Hi. Okay, so let's look for Philip. Okay. There he is. This is always the awkward part. We're waiting. And
all right.
There he is. Yay. Hi,
how are you?
I'm great. You know where I am. I'm in our beautiful Acme offices.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where are you today?
I'm at home.
Okay.
Just keep it simple. Yeah, I didn't want any issues, but yeah, I'm excited. Instagram Live. I got to be honest. This is the first for me. I've done Facebook Live, Zoom, Google Meets, but never Instagram Live. So yeah, appreciate this opportunity. Thanks for having me on.
We are breaking the seal with you, and we're gonna make you be, an expert at this. There might be more. How about that? If we have so much fun today talking about title. Did you happen to hear my story that I was telling?
Yeah, I remember you mentioning with the two. Was it Joe Schmo and Billy Bob?
Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I used to. Anyway, the way title insurance is designed is, we want to prevent those type of issues, right? So, I first wanted to just say something here. As far as my experience, right? I just want to let everybody know out there sort of what I do and how long I've been doing this.
Yes.
So,
who are you, Philip Waterman?
And again, so I'm Philip Waterman. I'm a VP of sales with Chicago Title. And, I've been in this title industry going on 25 years. So, I love what I do, although, I didn't always, right? When I first broke into this business in the late 90s, I mean, calling on offices, and I was just way in over my head. I didn't understand our products. I didn't understand title insurance. So the level of rejection I was receiving at that time was brutal. But I wanted to quit, but I'm glad I didn't, because all of those, I wouldn't change any of those experiences, because it really set the stage for where I'm at in my career now. And I'm just extremely grateful to be in this business, and thankful to be working with wonderful people like you, Emily, and thankful to be working with my company at Chicago Title. In my time, I've worked for the smaller title agency. I've worked for the middle of the road title company, but being with a large underwriter company like Chicago Title has really been a game changer for me. And I'm on a bigger stage, and I can scale my business in a way where I can service all areas of business, from like resale. So these are the areas that we service: resale, loans. We do commercial. We can do national lender accounts. We have a national builders division as well, so we can handle large condo subdivisions, TIC projects, new builds, like that. So again, being with my with Chicago Title is definitely opened the door for me to make new contacts and create new opportunities, which equates to like making more money, right? Which is always a good thing. So, but anyway, yeah, again, thanks for having me on. And when, title insurance, right? It's really, it's really
so sexy. People are like, ooh, tell me more. Say it really, slower. Title insurance.
It's not the most exciting industry out there. But it is an essential part of the real estate transaction, in that, we work very closely with principals, attorneys, escrow officers, lenders, in order to, get our deals closed, right? So that's kind of, in a nutshell, title insurance, we're really just here. We're designed and here to ensure your ownership in a property that you purchase through a real estate transaction. And in that process, we provide disclosure, right, and all matters that affect that land that you're purchasing. So one of the products that we offer, I wanted to touch, was the prelim, right? This is like a disclosure report. And so when we first opened up escrow, what we do is we conduct this search where we're looking for matters that affect the land, like ownership, taxes, loans, deeds of trust, easements. We also look for potential liens against the seller, like IRS liens, child support liens, that kind of stuff. Once we have all of that, we put it into this prelim, and we shoot it out to escrow and to all the parties involved in the transaction. So, this is our main core product. It takes about 3 to 5 days to prepare. So I always advise my clients, and we talk about this all the time, that when you take on a listing, let me know so I can get this report for you going in advance. And it's really, for the two reasons, really, is if there are any title issues, defects, we'll know about them up front. We can remove them or eliminate them prior to entering escrow. And then the other reason is the bulk of the search has already been completed, right? So the turnaround to get this information out once we is immediate. All we do is we date down, make sure nothing new is recorded, add escrow's information, and then get it out. So this could really come in handy, be helpful when you're dealing with like really short escrows, short contingency periods. So that's our first core product.
Right. Okay, I have a question.
Of course.
I have had buyer clients who are buying a home from the original owner say, well, I don't really need title insurance because it's never changed hands. It's by the same owner. Like, can I just not pay for that? Like, why would that be a terrible idea, Philip?
It's not out of the realm, it is a possibility in that, but when you have financing involved, when there's a lender involved, they're always going to require a policy in place. We issue out homeowner policies as well as lender policies. So if it's an all cash deal, you don't have to purchase a policy for that buyer. That buyer elects to not have one, but to me, it's not smart in that this is a one-time fee you pay for. It's pretty much like the most inexpensive form of insurance you're ever going to pay for one of like the most expensive investments you make, right? So it's a one-time fee that we collect for it, lasts the lifetime of your ownership, and it protects you from like missing errors, people coming back saying that it's their property, or missing deeds of trust where a lender will come back to foreclose your property. So, again, it's not, if it's an all cash scenario, it's not required, but I always advise to get it. But if there's financing, you definitely will need it.
Got it. Love it.
Yeah, I mean that's our core product, really. In essence, is the our bread and butter, right? The policy itself. So, we the way it works is, if you're a homeowner, right, coming in, there's two common policies that we issue. There's one called the ALTA homeowner policy. ALTA stands for American Land Title Association, and we always issue a policy out when we're insuring land, or I'm sorry, residential property. It's like single family, 2 to 4 units. It's our most comprehensive form of coverage. It protects you from on record matters, matters missed in the report. To off-record matters. So like an example, that would be like a missing heir, missing deed of trust, lack of access, right?
So what would a missing piece be? Like, give me an
getting back to the example I just mentioned with the deed of trust, right? If we close a deal and we miss a deed of trust, it wasn't paid at the close of escrow, and then you take over title as the new owner, and all of a sudden that old bank or lien holder begins a foreclosure on your home because they weren't paid. That would be considered like a complete payout situation, where we would come in, pay off that lender to secure your interest, your ownership interest. So
wow.
Right. So that ALTA homeowner is really for residential property. We also issue a CLTA standard. That's the second common policy. That's for like land and commercials, real basic in coverage. And so it only protects against those matters that are of record or missed in the report in the prelim. So if you think of it, if you're buying land, you don't need insurance or coverage for like a fence encroachment. And that's what the ALTA homeowner policy offers. Extended coverages where, if you're, so matters that affect your ownership after the close of escrow. So like, get sued over a fence, there's coverage for that. If we missed if there's a missing easement, like a sewer line that erupts and damages your land, there's coverage for that. There's mechanic lien coverages, building.
Let's explain, what is a mechanic's lien for those who don't know?
So, let's say you're an investor, right? And you're having work done, and let's say it's a new build, right? So basically, within 90 days after the completion of the project, subs have the ability to record mechanic liens, right? Which can hold up the close of an escrow. So what happens is, as a title company, we look at this lien and this recording, we have to address it, right? So we usually ask for like a withdrawal of that lien or an order, depending on the situation. But yeah, I mean, that's usually tied to like construction, right? Mechanic lien. And when we're dealing with like large developers, usually we'll get what are called indemnity packages from them, which basically is just like security or protection for us. Because sometimes, so what we're trying to do is affirm like the strength of financial that so we can close on deals within that time frame, and we know that based on their financials, they can cover any potential mechanic liens that come up after the close, right? So that's kind of an example of what that is anyway. So that's the mechanic lien.
I've had some sales where an electrician never got paid for some work that he did like 3 years ago, and so that mechanic's lien is still on title, and that has to get cleared up, obviously, before it transfers over to the new owner, right?
Yeah, and they just have to refile it every 90 days to keep it going. Go to court, get an order, that kind of a thing. But title companies have to actually recognize these type of liens, even a year out. But depending on the situation, we can go ahead and convey title, within that time frame. So anyway, that's the ALTA homeowner, and then there's the CLTA. If there's financing, as I mentioned, the lender's going to want a policy we issue out what's called an ALTA lender policy. And their needs are a little different. I mean, they're just wanting to ensure the priority of their loan, right, first, second, third position. If they have to sell the loan on a secondary market, they need a policy in place. And then, if they have to take the property back through foreclosure, that policy converts to an owner's policy. So those are like our 3 common policies that we issue out in a resale transaction. So those are our core products, though, in the transactions, the prelim, and then finally, yeah. And then, the fee, and just so the way it traditionally is that the seller will typically pays for the new owner coming in, their policy. And if there's financing, the borrower will pay for the lender policy. But that's all negotiable, right? All of our fees in the title industry are relatively the same, but we can get creative in that, you know, depending on the type of transaction. So like if it's a flip, like we were just discussing, we have what's called a binder rate, right? It's really designed for investors, short-term holds, which can offset costs by like 50% in certain situations. Investor rates, if you're buying, you know, property. We have commercial rates. So really just depending on the transaction itself, you know, I can definitely, you know, I always, you know me, I'm always, you know, I bring these things up, you know, great opportunities, and you know, I'm competitive that way. I can definitely help when it comes to our fees, but that's how that works, you know, with, and it's all set out in the CD as well, you know, with our fees.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes lots of sense. So, I mean, and we do represent at Acme, we represent a lot of, we don't like to call them flippers, we call them renovation rehabbers, because they're doing thoughtful rehabs of homes. So they don't want to pay for some, you know, ALTA. They want to just pay for the binder policy, right? Because it's so much cheaper.
Well, the way it works is, as a buyer, like an investor coming in on the purchase, you would pay an additional fee. It's usually 10% of the owner's policy that the seller's paying. You would pay that in order, and then that would, at that point, you'd have the binder policy in place, you know, for the sellout. And again, it's just, it really offsets the costs, you know, up to like, you know, 50% in certain situations. So I always advise do that, especially if you are an investor and flipping, or what was the word you said?
Rehabber, a rehabber.
Rehab, there you
Or rehabbing homes. Yes, not flip, because flip is like cheap, dirty, blah, 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 you know.
go. Rehabbing, that I agree.
I mean, you've seen our homes.
I've seen,
right?
and quality, yeah, I mean, I've seen the differences. You know, I get out there, you know, I'm going to Caravan, I'm previewing these properties, and I can definitely tell, you know, and there's conversations about it as well within the, you know, the community of realtors. You know, they look at the, you know, the final product, and they'll tell you, you know, that whether it was done right or done, you know, cheap. So,
That's right.
right, the difference between the flipper and the rehabber. So I agree.
Yeah. Okay, I want to hear some other potential fun stories you might have. I mean, I definitely, my very first deal ever, it was like giving birth to, you know, Siamese twins. It was insane because it had all these issues, title issues, you know, all sorts of things. But I would love to hear if you have sort of a special one on the tip of your tongue that you can share with us.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, we closed the deal last month, actually, which was pretty was pretty hairy. It was basically, it was a husband and wife situation where the husband passed away, and there was also a number of liens that like state tax liens. There's some like building and safety matters, like situations as well. So like on paper, you look at this and it was ugly. It was just a lot going on, and mostly deals aren't usually like this. You know, it's really just clearing vesting. If there's a trust, will require paperwork. If it's in the will require operating agreement. You know, there's a loan to be paid off, taxes to be paid, whatever. This one was like just really involved. So what happened is in January, the husband added his wife onto title, which, you know, there's nothing, you know, out of the ordinary with that. I mean, it was through an interspousal transfer deed. But, you know, anytime you, as a title company, when you're dealing with a transfer of ownership outside of an escrow, it triggers a red flag. Like, we have to clear that interest to make sure that that person who added on or came off was aware of it and approved of it, right? So we usually require what's called an affidavit of undisturbed deed. In any event, this gentleman passed away, so he executed the deed early January, 4 days later, right? So we had no idea that, you know, he had passed away. Dies, typically you're supposed to record what's called an uninsured, a certified copy, you know, affidavit of death. Affidavit of death.
Okay.
Recording the death certificate, right?
Wait, am I going to see this story on Dateline NBC? This sounds juicy.
No, I mean, it was juicy. I mean, for title.
Okay, keep going.
Because, I mean, it doesn't happen, you know. Anyway, so, you know, we get this, you know, fast forward a month, this affidavit of death records, right? But our report was only current through like mid-February. So we have plant time. So if something, we're usually about a week behind the recorder's office. So if something records a day, we're not going to pick up until like a week to 2 weeks after. So our report wasn't current. We didn't show the affidavit. Fast forward another month. This was like April 15th. It was a Wednesday. And we get a call from escrow inquiring about the affidavit, as well as wanting to set the file up to record that Friday. Okay. Now keep in mind, this is at the very end of the deal. The drop dead date to close this deal was that following Monday. I guess the buyer's rate was going to expire. So there was a lot of like anxiety, right? So I'm talking to my client. So our underwriter, our title officer, was looking at this transfer, and it was a little sketchy. I mean, the time frame, with the signature was a little scribbly. So, the function of one of our functions is to, look at these deeds, right, and signatures and make sure everything's proper. So there was some concern, with that. So we, rather than turn it away, because some companies will just turn it away and send it to probate because of all the timing and it was outside of the escrow. But what I love about my company is we're solution minded. We want to keep these deals alive. And I love that. I've been on where they just turn it away. But anyway, in order to keep it alive, we needed to show our underwriter. We needed to paint a picture to kind of explain the situation, right? So he asked for additional information, like a doctor's note. We wanted to make sure the guy wasn't, suffering from dementia. We wanted to make sure he was of sound mind, right? We also wanted to establish how long he was married to his wife. So this was on a Wednesday, right? So my connected me with the attorney, the attorney for the family, and in that I connected her. And
Oh no, it looks like the internet's cutting out a little bit.
Be good?
Oh wait, you're starting to come back now. All right.
Yep.
Tell everyone. Oh,
is that me? I feel like I'm getting that on your end.
Really? You're getting it on my end? Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cutting out. Yeah. You can hear me though.
I'm hearing you. Yeah, it's
okay.
A little intermittent.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just continue. So basically, what happened is the attorney just basically vouched for the whole process, and in working with our underwriter and the information that we received, he felt comfortable enough to go ahead and pass, invest through the wife, right? So that was like one hurdle we got through, which was big. So come Friday, we're still dealing with all these liens. So we were able to eliminate a lot of the liens, except for one in particular, was an IRS lien about a little over $30,000. And usually with the feds, when you submit for a demand, a payoff amount on that lien, it takes about 21 days for the feds to respond. So that had been done, but for whatever reason, it was delayed. And so instead of getting the actual demand or something, in writing, like a confirmation of the amount we're to pay, we got a verbal from somebody who worked down at the, down with the feds. And so they told, it was a little over 30,000. They assured us we were going to have this demand by Monday morning. So again, I was working with the underwriter, based on the information we received, the relationship that we had with our client. He made a company call. So we were asked to withhold that money from the seller's proceeds in lieu of receiving the demand. Now, title companies don't like to do this because we usually get caught with a bill. Keep in mind, there's always, accruing interest, right, on these type of liens. So we'll get a verbal, we'll hold the money, and then demand comes in at a greater value. We usually get stuck with the bill. And so, but again, based on the relationship we had and the information we had, he agreed. So we said we withhold that money. Ultimately, the seller agreed to let us withhold all of the funds, which made it easier. It made it, a little easier for us. So we set the file up for Monday. Sure enough, that morning we got the demand. We made the payoffs, all of the proceeds, everything were dispersed. So it was a win, right? We closed the deal, and my client was happy. So we have these situations that come up every now and again. So I was glad that we got it closed, and it just goes to show you got to have the right company in place, because that's solution minded, and have the right professional working for you, like myself, right? Anyway.
No, I mean, that sounds like a true nail biter of a situation. I mean, I can't even imagine, just like, because you've got this ticking timeline, you've got this poor buyer whose rate is about to expire, and all of these, like huge issues. Yeah.
It's just really important to have somebody in the trenches there working for you, connecting people, working with the principals, the attorneys, the company has to be, willing to work with the information, make company calls to get deals closed. So that's an example of, of how we, work, how we can work with these people to get these deals closed. So it was a win, definitely. That's an example.
And I mean, so that's on the crazy scale, like way over here. And then on just the really simple scale, I mean, just back in January, I called you, Philip, and I was like, hey, I just found out my house is actually not in the name of the trust. Can you help me with that? And you totally did. And it was easy breezy. So, I mean, you handle all the big and the small, everything in between. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that situation, we can always check the chain of title, like through our customer service, we can check how vesting is held. If in this case we confirmed it wasn't in the trust, but we also have a recording service. We use an electronic recording service to process all of our files, which really helps. In that as far as closing deals, but we also can handle accommodation recording. So in that situation, yeah, we worked with escrow. They prepared the deed. And we recorded it. So, that's just one of the services that I offer. But when it comes to again those type of transfers, later on if you go to sell the property, that's going to come into question. So we're going to require the unassured deed affidavit. We're going to require the trust certificate, that kind of thing. So we're just trying to make sure we have everything lined up and that the person or the entity that's selling the property has the authority to do so. So that's part of what we do. Or a lot do. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
And if anyone watching this live has not read a preliminary title report, it's pretty dry. It's it's like not exactly the most fluid, seamless reading material ever. And so that's why I love having someone like Philip in my court. I'll send him a prelim and I'll say, this looks okay to me, but what am I missing here? And so, that I just love that you're so detail oriented in that way, Philip.
Saying that, I think in business it's important to keep up technical questions, reviewing reports, whether I'm on a deal or not. I'm always, willing to get into there. I can jump on a call with a client or with a people, to go over the reports, to bring clarity to an issue, or a title matter. But yeah, I've been doing this long enough where I think, I feel confident enough in any way that I can get it done, get the job done. So
okay, so here's another question I've gotten from buyers. They're like, well, can't I just get title insurance or just bundle this with my State Farm, with my Mercury, with my what?
There's two separate things. Yeah.
I'm just relaying the kind of stuff I hear sometimes.
Yeah, we're insuring the real property that you're purchasing, right? So we're not insuring fixtures or this, the structure, things of that nature. Yeah. So there's no bundling. We might be able to bundle escrow and title. We do have a Chicago title escrow service, so that's one thing we can do. But that's something completely separate.
Right.
But yeah, yeah. So
cool.
Yeah, just two separate things, two separate entities.
Yeah, exactly. People just love to bundle these days. Anyway, but so that's fantastic. Is there anything else that anything else that we would want regular buyers or sellers to know about the kind of services that you offer? Of course, as agents, we love when you can help us lead gen, but not everyone on this call probably wants to hear about that.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think again, just tying back to what I was saying, you want to have go-to people in your sphere. So, as far as a buyer, I'll just call. I can review the report. I can let them know if it's there are issues or if it's clean, that kind of thing. With sellers, the same approach. Again, just getting, I think for me, just being involved, and like I make it a practice to review all of these reports that go out so that, if there is an issue, I know I can get a jump on that and help my clients get an understanding of what it is and how to remedy it. Right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think, after the close of escrow, like if my company handles the transaction and we insure the owner, any question, like challenges to your ownership after the close of escrow, I can help. I can guide a homeowner and the title claim process, right? So like if you like is that in that example I said about with the sewer line, you know, if that wasn't reported out in the prelim, and now you have damage, there's monetary damage, right? The policy, there's certain provisions, right? There's complete payouts, like the deed of trust example I showed you, and there's like a partial payout. So like in a situation like that, it's like an auto policy, right? You pay up to a certain amount, and then like as a deductible, and then the title company will pick up the rest, right? So these are things that I can kind of explain, and also on the process of how to submit the claim. Is drafting an email, submitting it to the title department. The attorneys receive that. Our attorneys will receive the claim, and they'll review it, and they'll either accept or decline it. So these are all ways that I can kind of help communicate all of that and help in those processes.
Oh, I thought of another way that you've helped in the past. When my clients have said, well, how do I know exactly where my property line begins and ends? I'm looking at this plat map and there's no numbers. It's just sort of like a weird looking parallelogram. You know, you've helped me in that way too. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, so we offer it's a title inspection service, our boundary line inspection service. So, you know, if there's a question as to where the boundary line is located and there's a potential encroachment, maybe with like a structure or a wall, I can set up a time to have our title inspector, go out to the property, visually identify the boundary lines. It's not a survey; it's an inspection, but it can be very helpful. You know, his costs are minimal compared to like a full scope, you know, or full survey, which, you know, can be anywhere from like $4,000 to $5,000 depending on the scope of work.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, that's a service I can definitely offer. Yeah. You know, also, I mean, anything has to do with building and safety. I mean, if you have questions on a zone, what can't be built, you know, building permits, requests, if you have questions for the assessor, like property taxes, you know, got through that, you know, how to update records, you know, that whole no, I can definitely, you know, get in and dig into that and help out.
And what if I'm like, you know, maybe a little bit of a nerd and I want to know, like, who was the original owner of this 1908 Craftsman in Highland Park? Then what, Philip Waterman?
That could be a little tricky, honestly. Back then, there was just all ranchos, you know, like it was like meets and bounds and huge parcels. So over time, you know, that they were subdivided into these lots and tracts and such. So that's called a chain of title search, right? So that process, it's called a Hall of Record search. So it could be very timely and costly because they have to go through all these old like books, you know, county books, to track down the transfer of ownership over the years.
I've done it. It was grueling. It was grueling, but it was actually kind of fun. But it was crazy.
You're paying on it.
Huh?
I feel like I lost a lot of life in that dungeon.
Oh my gosh, and you have to make an appointment, you know, because of COVID. And yes, I was in that dungeon looking through microfiche for like 3 days in a row. It was nuts, but it was actually very illuminating and fun. So anyway.
Yeah, so we have searchers that do that, you know, and companies that we contract to do that. So yeah, I mean, that's, but again, there's costs associated, but, you know, getting back to what I was saying, you know, our plant time goes back to like, you know, maybe it's back as far as the 40s, depending on the property, but anything like that, you know, would probably require that type of search. And so it really all comes down to like, why do you want that? You know, is there a famous person that owned the property at one time? I mean, that kind of thing, you know, it's really for marketability, right? Like marketing the property, which makes sense, you know, but yeah, it's a service that can be offered, and you know, and yeah, and we can provide the information.
Amazing. All in all, you're just a very friendly, wonderful, helpful, insightful title rep that we love to do business with. And so if anyone has any further questions, where can they find you, Philip Waterman?
Oh yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, my handle is at Philip Waterman with L, Philip Waterman, and yeah, just, you know, just hit me there, and I'd love to do business. I mean, for all you real estate professionals out there, you know, I mean, we have a marketing platform. I mean, really any direction marketing you want to go, we have a source or a product for it. So like email drip campaigns, internet leads, direct mail, like farms, traditional farms, gosh, I mean, you name it. I mean, content, you know, so yeah, I'd love to connect with all of you. So definitely get a hold of me. Let's set up a time and go over that. I'd love to help you develop, you know, new leads and business.
That sounds good. Okay, well, I think that's our time for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in on your lunch break or whatever you were doing and listening to Philip and I having so much fun shooting the shit about title.
Doing it.
We did it. What was that?
I said I appreciate it. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for the time.
It was super fun. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye.